So I'm here at Abbotsbury Swanery, a very famous place just a little bit to the north of Weymouth, famous southern town in England. And I just saw something very interesting. Long have I complained about the Department of Education and this Trump administration with nothing but sycophants, but not one person. Mrs. McMahon, who runs the Department of Education, is a highly qualified individual. She has a great personal story. Ignore her crazy husband and so forth. Comes from really nothing. She used to be under the Trump administration, the small business loan person. You never heard about it. She was effective. Now she's basically starting to dismantle the Department of Education. But here's the big thing. She's announced that on May 5th, you got to stop paying back your loans. And if memory serves me correct, there's like 5 million people who are in default. Many people have made no payments since 2021, something like that, right? For 2020, for 5 years. By the way, Trump started this. This is the danger of Donald Trump. He started the abeyance of paying his student loans when no one should have done that. Everybody should have been going to work, by the way. We shouldn't have had this collapse in 2020. He would have been reelected and we would have been done with it by now. But McMahon, Mrs. McMahon, is very talented. She's in her mid to late 70s, I think. She knows what she's doing. She knows accounting. So you got 46 million people or so who have student loans, 5 million default, and now, because no one's made any payments, the interest and so forth, it's like $1.6 trillion. Remember, I railed against Joe Biden and his people for trying to get all this stuff forgiven. There was no rhyme or reason for it. There's no reason to do this. But in an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, she cites one of the great examples I've ever seen. You know, if you default on your car, fine, they'll take the car. They're gonna make loans to you. They've gotta decide if you can pay it back, right? But they'll take the car. You can't really take back the education. But I think Mrs. McMahon needs someone, maybe like me, to tell her some other things. And here's what has to happen, because you're not going to get the cost of student loans down and the cost of education down unless you really go, not so much what Donald Trump is doing with Harvard. That's not going to change the cost level, right? Although I could do another Substack about who should be nonprofit and who shouldn't. But there are many things that need to happen. For example, if you are a full-time tenured professor at university and you're not teaching an average of 2 classes per semester, you're doing something wrong. How do I know? I taught the top finance course at the University of Rhode Island for over 3 years. I did it like the back of my hand. I did it like teaching high school kids. The top finance course. I could have been the mayor of Cranston, and I could have taught 3 classes that semester and had office hours, and everybody would have been happy. The amount of research being done on nothing important, whether it's sociology, whether it's these abstracts that come together that mean nothing. They teach no one anything. Just publish or perish. Whatever's going on at the university needs to change. You need real teachers. And you could have a lot more adjunct people teaching also. 2, how much loans are we willing to give if we don't stop this Parent Plus loan? And I'm not for any forgiveness of the people who took out these Parent Plus loans. They're unlimited. They continue to go. Forever, it seems like. Come on, we'll walk this way too. But that needs to be stopped. The other thing, here's point 3, what needs to happen, Mrs. McMahon. You need to look at every major that people have. If people are majored in sociology and the average income getting out is $25,000, that's it. That's all they can borrow. If you're at Cal Polytech and you're majoring in aerospace science and you're getting out making 100, you can borrow 100. You shouldn't be able to borrow more than 1 time your income. That'll change the course structure. It'll change what they teach, because you got far more people teaching anthropology and sociology that people can make money at when they get out, or drama, or whatever it might be. We know what the average starting salary is. It's not hard to figure this stuff out. Here's another one. I deal with this all the time because I have 6 kids, and I could go into how we've educated them. 5 of them at Colorado State University, living at home, tuition never more than $5,000 per semester with the green and gold scholarships and all the stuff we do. Get them to grad school quickly, or wherever they may be going. But in this case, I meet all the time, just say I'm in Colorado, but say you're listening and you're Mississippi. You got Ole Miss. It's very inexpensive to go to Ole Miss. You live in Mississippi, and you live near Ole Miss, let's say. But the kid wants to go to Tennessee. We don't know why. Wants to go to Nebraska, likes the cornhouse because maybe you as the dad went there or the mom. We don't care. It's like 50 grand to go to Nebraska if you don't live in Nebraska. It's simply another nice state school. We can't give you loans for that over and above if you stayed in Colorado, where its tuition is 11 grand, 12 grand, whatever it might be. This stuff has to stop, where kids go wherever the hell they want. It makes no sense at all. And they just take out loans as much as they want. And then they go to their parents and say, Mom and Dad, we can't afford the whole thing at NYU. I know I could have went to the state school and studied drama, in Missouri. Instead, what are they doing? They're at NYU and the parents are borrowing $200,000, which is bankrupting them. So one, thank you, Mrs. McMahon, for getting everybody back to pay back the student loans. I paid mine back. You paid yours back. And the Biden administration was so dastardly on this, so out of control, going to the Supreme Court and losing. Like, it seemed like every month. It was a couple of times, I know. But it seemed like that's all they wanted to do. Somehow forgive these student loans. For what reason? We don't know. It made no sense at all. But we've got to change the cost structure at the university level. We got to do it now. And in part of dismantling this education department, it can be done. All these there's many more rules I could tell you that should be implemented. But people shouldn't be allowed to cross state lines to go to some state university, major in some major they can't possibly get a job, enjoy all the pools, the weightlifting, whatever they're doing, and get out and all this money. I witnessed this with my kids up at Wyoming Law School. Where kids are getting out of the law school, forget about the undergraduate, but you add the undergraduate with the law school, and Wyoming's a fine law school. But it's not a place you can graduate with $200,000 of debt because your first job's going to be $55,000. This is the kind of stuff that has to stop before we finally get everybody off the student loans from the federal government. What do we want student loans for? We want them for poor kids who have an ability to do really serious college work. We want to make sure everybody who wants to go to college can go to college and recognize that a lot of kids in college shouldn't be there. They don't want to be there. Their parents send them there for whatever reason. They should be in trade school. They should change their major to be productive. The things that we actually need. And we need far less sociology majors, far less history majors, far less anthropology majors, and many more in the hard sciences, or at least economics. Anyway, Steve Laffey, we're going to take a tour of the rest of this place. But thank you, Mrs. McMahon, and thank you, Donald Trump, for getting at least one person in the administration who I've watched who actually knows what she's talking about every single time. It's a pleasure to watch her versus these other clowns at the Defense Department and whoever else he's got going. They're complete sycophants. She is not.